warning the sky was quiet over Earth, but in space, something dark was coming. Satellites orbiting the planet detected strange signals that were not from any known star system. Scientists in the Space Observation Center stared at the monitors, their hearts beating faster with every new reading. The signals were precise, almost like a message, but no one could understand what it said. On the surface, people went about their normal lives, unaware that the universe had just sent its first warning. Governments received urgent messages from space agencies around the world. The Galactic Empire, a powerful force known in old legends and secret files, had demanded Earth's immediate surrender. Their message was simple: Earth must obey or be destroyed. Panic spread slowly at first, then faster. News channels ran constant updates, showing military leaders discussing Earth's helplessness. Cities were crowded, people whispering rumors about alien attacks. Nobody knew how strong the Empire really was, and the fear of the unknown made hearts pound faster than any army could. At the United Nations, the leaders gathered in the main hall, their faces serious, their voices tense. Each country wanted to protect itself, but none had weapons capable of fighting a Galactic Empire fleet. Military advisors suggested surrender, hoping to save billions of lives, but others argued surrender would only mean the end of humanity. The debate went on for hours, but no one could find a clear answer. Meanwhile, in a small research station far from the cities, Dr. Elena Ramirez stared at her computer screens, her eyes wide. She had discovered something no one else noticed. The signals were not just a warning, they were coordinates, pointing to a location far beyond the solar system. A fleet was moving toward Earth, faster than any human technology could follow. Elena tried to alert the government, but her voice trembled. The scientists and officials did not know if they could trust her. Was it really a threat, or a mistake in the instruments? She insisted, "We are being watched. They are coming. Prepare for the impossible." But her warnings were met with disbelief. Some called her crazy, others thought she was overreacting. As night fell over Earth, satellites recorded massive energy readings. Something large and unknown was moving. Through the void, lights appeared in the far distance of space, blinking slowly, like stars that moved in formation. People who watched through powerful telescopes gasped. They were not stars, but ships, huge and dark, heading toward Earth. The Galactic Empire's message repeated itself across all networks: surrender immediately, or face total destruction. A chill ran through every human heart. Soldiers prepared their bases, but the weapons were too small, too slow. The Empire's fleet would reach Earth in days, not months, not years. The countdown had begun, and humanity had never felt so fragile. Even as fear gripped the planet, some felt a spark of hope. Dr. Elena Ramirez believed there was a way to survive. If they could understand the signals, perhaps they could find a weakness. Perhaps humanity was not as powerless as it seemed. But no one knew yet what that path would require, or how many would survive the first strike. And far in the blackness of space, the first ships of the Galactic Empire moved silently, their shadows stretching across the solar system. Earth's fate was now written in the stars, and humanity had only hours to read it. Panic on Earth. The news of the Galactic Empire's demand spread like wildfire. Cities emptied as people rushed to find safety. Panic filled the streets, and sirens screamed through every major city. Governments tried to calm their citizens, but fear was stronger than words. Shops closed, flights were cancelled, and the skies were filled with smoke from hurried evacuations. Families gathered in their homes, holding each other tightly. Children asked questions that no adult could answer. Will the aliens destroy us? One little boy asked, his eyes wide with fear. Mothers and fathers struggled to keep calm, but the fear in their hearts was too strong. Every moment felt like a countdown, and no one knew when the end would come. In the government buildings, leaders argued fiercely. Military generals demanded that Earth surrender immediately, hoping to avoid total destruction. Scientists and strategists pleaded for a plan to fight back, but their weapons were weak. The Empire's fleet was massive, and human technology was nowhere near enough to stop it. News anchors spoke in trembling voices, showing images of satellites tracking the Empire's ships. People watched as huge dark shapes moved silently in space, larger than any city. Their size was terrifying. Everyone felt the same question in their minds: how can we survive against something so powerful? In a quiet laboratory, Dr. Elena Ramirez continued her work. She examined the mysterious coordinates in the signals, searching for a clue. She realized the fleet might have a weakness, or at least a way to slow them down. Her heart raced with both fear and hope. She knew time was running out, but she also knew she could not give up. Meanwhile, world leaders held an emergency meeting. Their voices rose in anger and fear. "We cannot fight them," one general said. "We are doomed," another leader replied. "We cannot just surrender. Humanity must survive, no matter the cost." The room was full of tension, and no agreement seemed possible. Every second wasted brought the Empire closer to Earth. Outside, panic turned into chaos. People looted stores, ran through the streets, and tried to flee to unknown places. The police and armies tried to restore order, but the fear in the people was stronger than any law. Night fell, but there was no comfort. The skies glowed faintly with the approaching fleet, a silent warning that Earth had little time. Amid the chaos, a small group of volunteers gathered. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers who believed they could find a solution. They looked at Dr. Ramirez's data, hoping it contained the key to survival. Together, they began preparing in secret, building small ships, upgrading weapons, and creating plans that might give humanity a chance. As the first day of panic ended, the world held its breath. Every person on Earth felt the tension. A sense of helplessness hung heavy in the air, but somewhere deep inside, people whispered to themselves, "We cannot give up. Humanity will fight, even if the odds are against us." And in the darkness of space, the Empire's fleet continued its silent approach, thousands of ships moving in perfect formation, their shadows reaching toward the planet below. Earth was fragile, small, and unprepared, yet, in the hearts of a few, a spark of hope remained. A spark that could ignite a fight, unlike the galaxy had ever seen. The first strike. The night was silent over most cities, but in space, the Galactic Empire's fleet grew closer. Its massive ships blocked the stars, casting dark shadows across the planet. People on Earth stared at the sky, fear turning into dread. The countdown had almost reached zero, and humanity had no time to prepare. Military bases scrambled, sending every fighter they had into the skies. But Earth's weapons were small and weak compared to the Empire. Their lasers barely scratched the shields of the massive ships. Explosions lit up the darkness, but they were like sparks against an ocean of fire. Soldiers shouted orders, and pilots flew bravely. Yet the Empire's fleet moved like a storm, unstoppable and precise. In the control room, Dr. Elena Ramirez watched the screens, her hands trembling. She saw ships moving faster than human eyes could follow. Each one aimed at major cities, each one ready to destroy. She whispered to herself, "We need a miracle, and we need it now." Her team worked frantically, trying to find a weakness in the enemy's formation. Then it happened. The first strike hit. Explosions erupted in the skies above New York, London, and Tokyo. The ground shook, buildings collapsed, and sirens screamed. People ran in terror, searching for safety. The Empire's power was absolute, and Earth's defenses were failing. But amid the chaos, something strange appeared. A dark shape moved silently in space, faster than anything Earth had ever built. It was cloaked, almost invisible, yet its presence was undeniable. Sensors and satellites detected it, but no one could identify it. Some called it a ghost, others a miracle. Everyone watched as it approached the Empire's fleet. The mysterious ship opened fire, and in an instant, several of the Empire's ships were destroyed. The explosions were massive, sending debris flying in all directions. Humans on Earth could barely believe their eyes. For the first time, there was hope. The Empire's fleet seemed uncertain, some ships changing direction as if confused. Dr. Elena Ramirez gasped, realizing the truth. "It's the Black Fleet," she said. "They are here." No one knew why the fleet had arrived, or what they wanted, but one thing was clear. Humanity was no longer alone in this fight. The Black Fleet moved with precision, taking out the Empire's ships faster than any human weapon could. Meanwhile, on Earth, leaders tried to understand what was happening. Communications with the Black Fleet were impossible, yet the people felt a surge of courage. Soldiers and pilots felt hope for the first time. They realized that survival might be possible if they could fight alongside these mysterious allies. The first strike ended in minutes, leaving the sky filled with smoke and fire. Cities were damaged, but millions of lives were saved. Humanity had faced annihilation and lived to see another day. Yet questions remained. Who were these allies? What did they want? And could Earth truly survive the full power of the Galactic Empire? As night turned into dawn, the first light revealed a planet, scarred but not broken. The Black Fleet hovered above, silent and mysterious, observing humanity as if testing it. Dr. Elena Ramirez and her team knew that this was only the beginning. The real battle, the fight for Earth's future, had just begun, and far in the distance, the Empire's commanders regrouped, shocked and wary. They had expected easy victory, but now Earth had a new weapon, one they could not understand. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for what would come next. The Black Fleet arrives. The Black Fleet hovered silently above Earth, its dark ships larger and stranger than anything humans had ever seen. Pilots and soldiers stared in awe, unable to believe their eyes. The fleet moved with perfect precision, its ships forming strange patterns that seemed almost alive. Every human weapon on Earth now seemed tiny and useless. Dr. Elena Ramirez and her team worked frantically to understand the fleet. They had no way to communicate at first, but sensors detected signals, patterns and pulses that suggested intelligence. Someone in the control room whispered, "They are here for us." But why? The question hung in the air like a shadow. Then, suddenly, one of the Black Fleet's ships descended into the atmosphere, stopping just above a large military base. Its hull shimmered with unknown energy, and a voice spoke, not in any human language, but somehow understandable. "We are here to test your species," the message said, calm but powerful. "Show us you can survive." The humans stared in shock, unsure whether to be afraid or relieved. The voice continued, explaining that the Galactic Empire was only one of many threats. The Black Fleet had been observing humanity for centuries, waiting for a moment when they might matter in the galaxy. And now, that moment had come. On the ground, leaders gathered, trying to comprehend what was happening. Soldiers were trained in ways they had never imagined. Weapons and ships were upgraded with the guidance of the mysterious fleet. Scientists like Dr. Ramirez learned new technology, the kind that seemed like magic compared to human science. Humanity was changing, fast, under the watchful eyes of the Black Fleet. The Empire, unaware of the full power of the Black Fleet, continued its approach, expecting Earth to surrender or die. But the first fleet of human pilots, trained secretly under Black Fleet guidance, launched into space, flying in formation. Their ships were now faster and stronger, capable of taking on the enemy. Even small victories were possible, and hope grew across the planet. The Black Fleet demonstrated their strength openly, destroying several of the Empire's leading ships in a display of precision and power. Humans watched as entire enemy formations vanished in moments. Their fear began to turn into determination. They realized that survival was possible, and that perhaps the galaxy's legends were true, that humans could rise against the strongest foes. Yet the Black Fleet's message was clear. This was a test, not a gift. Every human decision, every battle, and every act of courage was being observed. Fail, and Earth would face the full wrath of the Empire. Succeed, and humanity could claim a place among the stars. The stakes had never been higher, and every person felt the weight of the coming battles. Dr. Ramirez looked at the glowing screens, her mind racing with possibilities. They had allies, powerful and mysterious. But the Empire was relentless, and time was short. "We must learn fast," she said, "or humanity will pay the price." Soldiers, pilots, and civilians alike understood that their lives were changing forever. The Earth that once feared annihilation now had a chance to fight back. As the sun rose, the Black Fleet hovered above the planet, silent and imposing, their shadows stretching across cities, mountains, and oceans. Humanity had survived the first strike, learned from the test, and grown stronger, but the real challenge had only just begun, and the Galactic Empire was far from defeated. And somewhere in the dark reaches of space, new enemy forces stirred, unaware that Earth was no longer an easy target. The stage was set, the players ready, and the galaxy held its breath, waiting for the next move. Humanity's rise. The training under the Black Fleet had begun, and humanity was changing faster than anyone could have imagined. Soldiers learned to move their ships with new agility. Pilots practiced maneuvers that defied human technology. Scientists discovered weapons and shields far beyond Earth's old designs. Each day brought new lessons, and each day humans grew stronger. On Earth, people watched the progress with awe and hope. Citizens who had once cowered in fear now felt pride in their species. They built and repaired ships, trained alongside soldiers, and prepared for the coming battle. Even small victories brought courage, and courage inspired more courage. Humanity was beginning to believe that survival was possible. Then came the first real test. The Galactic Empire sent reinforcements, far stronger and larger than the initial fleet. They expected Earth to collapse under the pressure, but this time, humanity was ready. The first human fleet, guided by the Black Fleet, launched into space, flying in formation like never before. Their ships moved with speed, precision, and power. The battle was fierce. Explosions lit the darkness of space, lasers and missiles flying in every direction. The Empire had underestimated humans, and their confidence began to falter. Pilots shouted commands, soldiers worked tirelessly, and every human action counted. Each small victory inspired the next, and the humans learned quickly from every mistake. Dr. Elena Ramirez watched the battle from her command center, heart pounding. With both fear and excitement, the Empire's ships were massive, but human creativity and courage were unstoppable. Humans began to understand the tactics of the Black Fleet, applying them in ways no one had predicted. And for the first time, the Empire began to feel fear on Earth. People cheered as reports came in. The first major victory against the Empire was more than a battle. It was proof. Proof that humans could fight back. Proof that they were not powerless. Children whispered the names of the pilots as heroes. Soldiers smiled despite the exhaustion, and the Black Fleet observed silently, approving the efforts of their new allies. Yet the Black Fleet reminded humans that this was only the beginning. Your victories matter, but the Empire will return. Their voice echoed through the command channels. Humans understood the weight of their responsibility. Every decision, every move could mean survival or destruction. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was proving it could rise to the challenge. The Empire, now shaken, regrouped and reconsidered their strategy. Their confidence was gone, replaced by caution. They realized Earth was no longer a weak planet, and that humanity had allies unlike any they had faced before. The balance of power was shifting, slowly but unmistakably. Dr. Ramirez and her team worked without rest, improving tactics, building new ships, and coordinating with human pilots. Every human involved in the fight felt the surge of strength, knowing that their species was capable of great things. The Black Fleet had given them knowledge, but it was courage and determination that made humans rise. As the first victorious ships returned to Earth, the planet erupted in celebration. Humanity had survived the first wave, learned to fight alongside the Black Fleet, and proved that it could stand against impossible odds. But the final battle had not yet come, and the Galactic Empire still had forces beyond imagination, and in the shadows of space, the Black Fleet waited, watching humanity grow stronger, testing them silently, preparing them for the day when Earth would have to face the Empire in a battle that would decide the fate of the planet, and perhaps the galaxy. The Galactic Standard, Galactic Empire had gathered its full strength, countless ships moving through space toward Earth. They expected the final victory, believing that humanity would finally be crushed. But the humans were ready. The Black Fleet had trained them, built their courage, and taught them tactics that even the Empire could not predict. On Earth, citizens watched the skies, their hearts filled with fear and hope at the same time. Soldiers and pilots prepared for the greatest battle in human history. Every person knew that this fight would decide the fate of the planet. Every act of courage, every decision, could change the outcome. The battle began with a deafening roar. Lasers and missiles tore through space, explosions lighting up the void. The Empire's ships were massive, their firepower devastating, but humanity had learned, and humans fought with skill, precision, and determination. Ships moved in formations taught by the Black Fleet, striking fast and disappearing before the enemy could react. Dr. Elena Ramirez watched the battle from the command center, heart pounding. She could see humans working together like never before. Pilots protecting each other, soldiers coordinating attacks, scientists adjusting weapons in real time. Every human effort mattered, and every moment brought them closer to victory. The Empire unleashed their deadliest weapons, massive energy, beams that could destroy entire cities. Ships were torn apart, and human casualties rose. But the Black Fleet intervened, striking with speed and power, destroying enemy weapons before they could reach Earth. Their movements were precise, Their strategy flawless, and humanity followed their lead perfectly. For hours, the battle raged, each side giving everything it had. Humans had become strong, brave, and clever, facing impossible odds. They refused to give up, and slowly, the Empire began to falter. Their ships were destroyed faster than they could replace them. Their confidence shattered, replaced with fear. Then came the Fina.